So the first idea is that capitalism will end. It's based on profit, selfishness, and greed. The tragic result is that half the world's population lives, suffers, and dies in poverty. And of course, this is poverty that's totally unnecessary. The United Nations calculates that there's enough food on the planet today for about 11 billion people stockpiled in so many warehouses, you know. Why is there hunger? There's no shortage of food. Of course, every country needs to become self-reliant in growing their own food, but in the meantime, we can certainly give away a little extra food until they get that self-reliance, that sustainability. I can say, too, I'm a yoga teacher, and according to yoga, we all have certain emotions and instincts. And these emotions and instincts include, for example, aggression. 1,000 years ago, you get in an argument with somebody, you might settle it with your sword. Well, every country of the world today has made laws to try to discourage this tendency towards violence. So everybody has to think, do they want to spend the rest of their life in prison, you know, if I'm going to kill somebody? And hopefully we shouldn't think like that. Of course, in this country with guns so available and it only takes 1 second to pull the trigger, you know, and then you're thinking about what you did. It doesn't work as well as it should, but we try to discourage violence around the world. But there's another tendency in the human being, which is selfishness or greed. And the economic system does not try to control that. Rather, capitalism encourages greed and selfishness. The U.S. economy is headed for a crash. You know the numbers, except they keep going up, so it's hard for me to keep track of it. $8.9 trillion is the national debt. It was just pointed out that more than half of this was produced by 2 presidents who had the name Bush, because of war, obviously. The deficit is now $406 billion every year. We're spending more than the government is bringing in. The trade deficit, meaning we're importing $726 billion more than exporting. The government is borrowing $2 billion every day, including weekends, holidays included, in order just to meet their budget. And of course, there's this time bomb, they call it, the Social Security system, that eventually has to pay out like $11 trillion. And finally, old figures by the Federal Reserve Board was that every family had $12,000 credit card debt. That's 5 years ago, and excuse me, I couldn't find it. They don't publicize this very much, but the numbers are increasing. And this, of course, is not student loans, housing loans, anything else. This is pure high-interest credit card debt. And of course, every family doesn't have it, which means the next family has double. So these are very high numbers of debt that the country is sitting on. I think most accountants, bookkeepers, look at these figures and would say, this is not a very sustainable economy you have right now. It's rather a big bubble of speculation.